Hi guys, Andy Golf from Mad Dad. Welcome to a new series called Short Game Scratch Tips. This series, filmed at Shirland Golf and Country Club, I will explain the different short game skills that I have learned and used to try and be a scratch golfer, even though practice time is very limited, as I do run my own PR company with my wife, and also like to spend as much time as possible with my little boy, who is growing up way too fast. But once you master these techniques, they become your default settings. These tips work for me, so hopefully they can work for you also. Right guys, episode 1, scratch a short game basics. We're going to go on this episode through what the bounce is, are we using it properly? We will go through the different releases I use to keep it simple and to help increase the spin. I'll show you a basic chip shot I use, soft landing pitch and a flop shot. It's going to be a good one. Right guys, let's talk bounce. I'm sure you've all heard about it, but are we using it properly and making chipping a lot easier? Right, so on these wedges we have 3 sections of the wedge: the front part of the bounce, the midsole and the back sole of the wedges. All 3 parts of this bounce, what I incorporate by using 3 different releases, which I'll show you. Keeps it really simple, makes the strike a lot more forgiving. So the bounce, also with the wedges, let's check out what we've got. I carry 3 wedges, a 50 degree, 54 and a 58. Important to look what bounce you have on these wedges. For me, what I tend to go for is the mid wedges. I like to have plenty of bounce on the club, so this one's got 10 degrees. Probably go 10 or 12 for the mid. I've actually changed my short game with these tips, so the 58 is hardly getting used. As I go to the higher 58 degree, I use that as my low bounce, which further episodes is when the more skilled shots come in and we can use the different bouncers to try different shots and different skill levels as we go along. So that's the bounce. I'll show you as the releases go how we use the different bouncers, but hey, front, middle, rear, just remember those. Right guys, now we understand the bounce a little bit. Now I'm going to show you my 3 releases I use to use the different parts of this bounce. I have 3 releases, like I say. So for the first one, where we want less bounce, I call this my left hip release. So on my left, as I come through impact, the feeling is the club head is released to the left hip. That exposes the front edge, stops the skidding, hitting the turf as much. So release 1, call the left hip. So left hip release. Release 2, which is the one I use probably most commonly now, exposes the mid bounce. Helps with strike. We don't have to pure it, which a lot of you think you do out there. So this one makes it a little bit more forgiving. This one's called the belt buckle release. So as we go through impact, the shaft of the butt points to my belt buckle. So as we go through the series, that's what to remember. So this is my belt buckle release to expose the mid part of the bounce. And when we want to go high, and we've got the live for it, so I use the rear part of the bounce. This is my right hip release. So as we go through impact, I feel that the butt of the club is pointing to the right hip, which we'll explain more as the episode goes on and future episodes. So for quick recap, we've got the 3 bouncers, the front, the middle, the rear of the sole. For my 3 releases, I have the left hip, the belt buckle, and the right hip. Right, move on to the shots now, and I will show you how we utilize these releases and the bounce. Right guys, basic chip shot. Right, so when we're around the green, there's no excuse not to have tour standard setup. We can all get this perfect setup. The rest of the skill comes with practice. So let's get this setup sorted. Again, round the green, see many high handicappers reach for their highest lofted golf club. We don't need the 58 degree, 6 degree round here. So get that club, throw it back in the bag, and let's just get this ball rolling on the green. Let's get these fundamentals set up for the base work. So basic chip shot, really easy setup. We're going to go 1 club width apart from the feet. We line up square, and we line up square with the back heels because I want to have the left foot flared open, so it will look like it's slightly open, pointing open of target, but the back heels are square. Ball, middle, just forward and middle, and we're going to have the weight throughout 70% on the left foot. And again, the biggest thing we see with high handicappers is too much tilt on the shoulder, and it leads to duff strikes, inconsistency. So we want to see level shoulders through here. So 70% on the weight, level shoulders, and we're going to see, I want to see a flat wrist on here. We don't need the cup in, we're not adding loft. We're going to keep it so we're close to the ball, flat left wrist. So in order to do that, let's weaken the grip. So this is strong, this is weak. I'd rather see a weaker grip, helps with the flattening of this wrist. We can just control that club face, keep it really simple, get this ball rolling. So again, 54 degree, weight 70% on the left, that's your pivot point. We stay there, level shoulders. All we're going to do then, rotate and pivot round that left foot. As we go back, there's not going to be much hinge in of the wrist. The club face stays parallel with the spine, and as we exit through, this is where my left hip release comes in, and I feel the club point towards that left hip. So get those checkpoints. Everyone can get these checkpoints right. And it comes out. Little run in, little check, because it's my gap wedge. Easy to control it. Instead of the old put the ball back in the stance, we stab down, inconsistent strike. It's going to come out with no spin, can't control the distance. So easy setup, get the setup points right. Basic chip and run. The rule of thumb, my gap wedge, it will land 50%, roll out 50% to control distance. Then we go 9-iron, that tends to land a third, release 2/3. 7-iron tends to go a quarter, rolls out 3/4. So that's how we control the distance. So go grab the 9-iron, find what works for you throughout the bag. Same distance, same setup. Weight left foot always stays on the left foot, 70%, flat wrist. This will land a third, release 2/3. Nice tempo. There's your third, and it rolls out. If you've got a bit of green to work with, back pin. Keep it really simple. Sound fundamentals. No more duff. You can feel the spin coming on. Right guys, that's your basic chip shot. Keep it simple. Fundamentals, easy to do. Just go practice then. Bring those up and downs back into play. Okay guys, so we've mastered the basic chip shot, which for 80-90% of your shots around the green should be your go-to. So this one is if you want a little softer landing. You need to have the little lie. You don't want a bare lie for this one. You want a little bit of grass. You don't need lots, but you want a bit of grass. So this one is my belt buckle release. So again, I'm still doing all this with my gap wedge, sand wedge really, 54 degree. Setup with this one is slightly different from the chip shot. So what we do with this one as we put the sternum ahead of the ball, this one's set up slightly different. So we want roughly 2 club widths again from the back heel, ball, center, somewhere there, open the left foot again. So for this one, slightly different. We're going to be a little bit further away from the ball. This one, we're going to have a bit of cupping this way into the wrist. This will allow us, as we turn, to keep the loft, even add loft to the club as we go. We don't want a de-loft this one. We add the loft, and we want to keep this loft running through. So as we imagine, the club is interacting with the turf, no digging, using the bounce. So on this belt buckle release, we're using the mid part of the wedge. So again, 2 club widths on the ball. This one you don't need to stack it 70%, roughly around 60 on the lead, 40 on the trail. So this one on here, slightly away from the ball, bit of hinge wrist. This one, the sternum actually is going to be set slightly behind the ball, but the weight is still on the left. This one, I want to catch the ground just an inch behind the ball. Use that bounce. But this one's real. So this one's with grip pressure. If that was a 4 or 5 out of 10, this one's even less. You're going to feel that it's hardly in your hands, to be fair. So weight left, sternum behind the ball. We're going to rotate, and we're just going to feel as we come down, the club head just lets it do its thing. Use gravity. There's no handle pull on this. So weight left, sternum there, let it fold, let it drop gently. And the hand path here, it stays close to the body and the hips. And through impact, I want the butt of the club pointing to the belt buckle and hand staying close to the body. Just pops, hand paths close, comes out so soft. Really nice shot to have. So again, just get the basics right. 2 club whips, 60% on the left, little cup in, so we have to come away slightly further away from the ball. Sternum just behind the ball. Rotate and fold the arm, let it drop gently, and keep that hand path close to that body, and watch it land super soft. That's just nipped. Wow, so soft. And we can control that. So if you're landing on a downslope, you just got to go over something. You can't hit the chip and run. Really good shot to go to with this one. Again, this is just a 54 degree. If you want to feel you're adding loft, you just feel, not too much, but the knuckles will go towards the sky. The loft is pointing up. So as we drop, you can see loft stays on the ball, and we just gently nip it. So soft. I've hit an inch behind the ball there. Look how soft. Going. Oh, it's lipped out. Right guys, that is the soft chip shot with my belt buckle release. Comes out so soft. Right guys, so we've mastered the basic chip shot, soft landing pitch, which would 99% of the times be the shots you're choosing around the green. But if you do have to go super aerial, get that lob shot out. Again, it's a last resort emergency. We're going to use my right hip release in here. So really maximize the loft. So set up slightly different again from my belt buckle release. So with this one, we're actually going to go almost like a driver stance width. One balance, we're going to go further away from the ball because we're really going to get some cupping of the wrist. This one, really want to stack the weight big time, 80% on the left side. Actually going to open my stance just a little bit on this one. Sternum ahead of the ball, 80% in to that feet. Again, we don't want any shaft lean here. And from here, sternum way ahead of the ball. It will allow us to take the club back, still pivoting around the left foot, hinge early so we can get steeper into that ball. And the feeling that we're going to throw this right hand and get that club head going to the right hip on there. So stack on the left, sternum ahead of the ball, cup the wrist. We're going to go back steeper, throw the right hand, release right hip, really get that hand path close to the body. Super high, super soft. Again, this is just an emergency shot. From here you could really play a belt buckle release, get it running. Future episodes we'll discuss lies, rough, when to play these shots, different skill shots. So again, stack it left, sternum way left, club shaft parallel. We're going to get up steep, release right hip while staying left. Oh, super flop. Right guys, hope you enjoyed that episode of Short Game Scratch Tips. Let me know if you've been away to practice these techniques. Have they helped your game? Pop it in the comments below. Let me know. Hope you're enjoying these. If you do, give that subscribe a little whack. And next episodes we'll be looking at bunker play, pitch in play. So let's get those handicaps down. Again, let me know, comments below. How's it help you?